As the full moon rises above the fields, shadows begin to move. What lurks within the darkness has glaring eyes fixed upon you. Now join your host Vonda during this hour of the haunted harvest moon.
On this harvest moon.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Haunted Harvest Moon, where we dare to explore and discuss the topics of paranormal. Tonight's show, we have a fairly new group out of Indiana. I kind of got right on their Facebook page when they first started. They only had maybe like 100 likes, and they have been blasting. They've got over, I think, 2,000 likes the last time I checked. So they're getting around really quick in the paranormal world. But I want to welcome the new Castle Paranormal Seekers, and it's Anita and David, and husband and wife, right? Anita and David?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. I love the husband and wife teams. I think that's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, my husband and I were together, and then I got my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law that's on our team, and I know we have some in the chat room that are husband and wife teams. I think that's awesome. Gives you guys something to do together, and you investigate you find the locations together and talk about it. You investigate together, and then you review evidence together. So yeah, I think it's awesome. So Anita, tell us a little bit how you got into the paranormal. What drawed you to the paranormal world?
I've always been fascinated with it. Pretty much, I had experiences when I was younger, and then just growing up, I always was fascinated, and I really started wanting to get into it a couple years ago, but it took a little while, to get my husband on board with it. And then once he got on board, we just ran with it pretty much.
So David, are you the skeptic?
Yes, ma'am. I'm the skeptic. I have to admit, we've always watched a lot of shows. And I kind of I used to rip on them a lot, because it always seemed like the dramatized aspects of it. One of the things that really got me off my skeptic horse, so to speak, would be Thornhaven Manor, which was our first formal investigation. I got in there on a cleanup project, actually before we even started with our group name. And the experiences that I encountered were just amazing. I couldn't put any explanation to the things that occurred. So after that, we kind of, I started talking with my wife afterwards, and because she always had the energy to actually start it. So we got going. We went back to Thornhaven Manor a couple months later. On a public investigation with a group, and it just has sailed ever since. It's been good times. We've done a few investigations. Like you said, we're still new. We're still testing theories and staying in progress with our goals.
And that's what makes it fun, starting out in a new team. And you never, Creepy Legends has been around. Gosh, I'll probably get corrected on this. I'm thinking we're going into our 8th year now, and we always find different techniques and come up with different things to try at an investigation. So, being a new group, you've got a lot to try, and as you keep going and you learn and you do more investigations and you team up with some good teams out there and do investigations, you just broaden your knowledge, and it's just wonderful. We did Bobby Mackey's with, I think, 3 different teams? I think 3 different teams besides Creepy Legends. and it's neat to go in with another team to see what they do. See how they
Wow,
pull
yeah,
them
that's
out.
founded.
Yeah, so you guys haven't been together quite a year?
I'd say about 4 months
Yeah.
formally, and maybe a couple months kind of informally. Um, it's kind of basically myself. My name is David, by the way, and Anita. She's our video person. She handles a lot of the video work. We have her brother. His name is Scott Case. He's kind of new to our group, but he's got a lot of energy and brings a lot of excitement to some of our approach. We've got our team started, and the fact that there's only a few of us, it takes us a little longer, I think, to go through some of our processes that we've kind of developed along the way, like our EVP review and our video reviews and such.
That's
But
just
it's
time
been
consuming. That's
interesting.
yeah, the EVP review and video review, that's just time consuming anyway. I am one of the lucky ones. Chris and Jane and Sally do most of the review on that. I don't I don't hear very well, so I kind of get out of the EVP stuff. But yeah, that's just time consuming. So that's part of it.
I fall asleep.
Well,
Listening to trying to listen to all the audio, I fall asleep every time.
yeah, when we come back from investigation, Chris will walk around with days with the headphones on, laid across the bed with his eyes closed, and I'm like, well, how are you going to hear anything? With his little notepad in his hand. So yeah, I mean that's part of but that's what makes it fun. I've always been, when I started my show, a lot of my listeners know that, I try to go for the teams that are local, that have just started learning, and, kind of watch their progression as they go. As we all know in the paranormal world, you are not going to get rich off of this, and it can be it can be very expensive, but it makes you feel good when you're the one sitting there listening to your EVP and you've got a Class A EVP. It's
We
all
haven't
worth it.
haven't had anything like that yet, but we don't quit. We've actually had quite a bit of EVP work, but like you said, we remain very skeptical in our evidence review. We don't believe in putting up any kind of fake evidence or anything in that type of nature.
And that's
When
good.
in doubt, throw it out.
That's good. There's sometimes when, and I'm probably the worst one at this, and Chris is up there probably shaking his head, that we'll get an EVP and he can't use it because I'm either moving around, I'm making a facial expression, or I'm talking when I shouldn't be.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm very bad at the. I've got a pacing habit that kind of kicks in when I get going, and she tries to keep me grounded with it. I have to like, oh, sit down.
Yeah,
but it's been interesting. One of the challenges, like you kind of mentioned too, is the cost aspect of it.
yes.
For us, we don't have any kind of charge for our services. We're a totally free. We run it like a nonprofit organization. All our expenses are out of our own pocket. We have video recording equipment. We have some electronic voice gathering. And of course, we have our meters that we use for EMF detection. And we're just starting now. We're coming in the game with the PSP, with the older style, the PSP 7. So we're pretty excited on getting that. Looking forward to that. We've messed around with it, and it's just had great results just playing around with it.
Yeah, it's it takes a while to build your equipment inventory up. So besides Thornhaven, which is an awesome place, if you haven't watched our video there, you need to. It's pretty awesome. Besides Thornhaven, where else have you guys investigated? Do you do residentials as well?
Yes, ma'am. We just started. We went to a residential in northern Indiana. I'll I can't disclose the name.
That's fine.
We did that by Plymouth, Indiana. We had some interesting encounters there. Basically, we didn't have anything solid video-wise we captured, but one thing we did capture, which we did share on our YouTube, was one of our EMF meters, which was the ghost meter. We had that in a bedroom, and we were doing kind of an EVP response type question and answer, and the alarm on it floored the meter, and the meter, which was sitting by me on the floor, it was going off for almost a solid two minutes, and it seemed to stop right after she asked after Anita asked if it could make it stop, which was an interesting experience.
Wow.
There was a 4-degree temperature drop also inside that same 2 minutes, and right after it stopped, the temperature rose back up, since we had the Mel meter also with that.
Okay.
So that was an interesting encounter. We also had just started working on another one we were doing, which is Sharp Cemetery, which I believe is named the Witch's Circle.
Yeah, I kind of sent you a message about that. I'm originally from Muncie, so I am familiar with Newcastle, Delville, and Chesterfield, and I have done a little research on the Witch's Circle. I don't know if you're familiar with Step Cemetery, but it's kind of like back away off the road. Am I correct?
I've heard of it. I haven't had a chance to get out there. But we've got a to-do list that's about 2 miles long on places.
But is the Witch's Circle kind of back off the road? It's not right on the edge of the road. You kind of got to walk to get to it. Is that correct?
Yeah. We have some pictures up on our website, which is currently we just have our Facebook page, which is the Newcastle Paranormal Seekers. One of the on the pictures, when you see it from the road, it just looks like there's like a couple wooden posts there and a trail going back, and it's a few hundred feet or so back, and then one turn, and then another 100 or so feet, and opens right up to a clearing. And it's really interesting when you walk through that woods and you get the suspenseful feeling build up inside of you. So what am I going to go into?
So did you catch anything out there? I know you did a daytime investigation. Is that right?
Yes. One of the things that we do when we go into we do a preliminary sweep where we go through and we'll do some base readings, which we go through and we try to determine if there's hot spots as far as EMF detection. One of the things that we consider is also, with the environment, is we look at, bodies of water, rock formations, power lines, all these different things. What we obviously observed is there's no power lines or cables through a cemetery there and back in the woods like that. I did have a .8 milligauss EMF hit. And I had several others near a couple certain stones, so we'll be doing some EVP work here probably this weekend.
Well, that's cool. That is one place I want the team to go. That's about an hour and a half, 2-hour drive for us. And the other place, have you been to anywhere around Chesterfield, the psychic area? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, we haven't been to that one yet. We have been down the road near. We're trying to figure out who we have to talk to get permission to go into this place.
Well, from what I've heard,
near the old state hospital in Newcastle.
Well, from what I heard there in Chesterfield, I don't know how true this is. They're not real fond of paranormal investigators. And I don't, if you've been down the road, it's all fenced in. I mean, they got this. I mean, it looks like it's a prison. It's all fenced in. I mean, you can't even pull your car in and park. You have to park off the side. Yeah, the spiritual camp. Thank you, Kristen. You have to park kind of off the side and walk in. I guess, it just, when I drove by, like I said, I've never been there. All the years I've lived in Muncie, I've never been there. First time I drove by it was when my nephew had a basketball game. But yeah, definitely a place I'd like to get into and kind of just walk around. But like I said, I've heard that they're not real fond of paranormal investigators. So,
Yeah, that's one of the things we've kind of, when I start reading about different locations, uh, I've seen a lot of people comment too when you go into a spot that's on a land, you start running into people trying to run you off. I was looking into that because we were looking at a place up in northern Indiana called the Ewald Cemetery, which is actually nicknamed Little Egypt. There's been, some claims of stuff there, but a lot of people have experienced people basically coming and running them off. And since the obvious with the vandalization that, some locals tend to try to be protective of something near their area, they don't give anybody the benefit of the doubt, really.
yeah, that's a bad thing about cemeteries. Same way out at Step, the DNR guy will run you out at 11 o'clock. They won't let you be in there after 11 o'clock at night. So, best time to go is in the winter when you freeze your booty off. Never go in October. We learned the hard way.
Yeah.
Never go in October. But so yeah, I like to get there and check that out. And Kristen, I'll have to meet you sometime and we can go do that. But how about Ball State? Have you contacted Ball State to check out any of the dorms?
No, we haven't been in contact with anybody like that. We've been mostly focusing on trying to get some aspects with private residential going, and so the Thornhaven and a couple other places. We've kind of got a list for what we have, but at least for the next couple months, we're trying to key in on like outdoor type locations if possible while it's still relatively warm. And then, try to get Thornhaven again, too, before it gets too cold. Places, basically, that'll have utilities and heat and such. That way we can, maintain our year-round investigation schedule.
Okay. So you're still kind of scoping out places.
Yeah. We're always open to suggestion, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of places. So many, I couldn't name them all. There's so many to go to. But Thornhaven is probably right now, I would say, the most popular one. I tried to get us in there for the end of this month, and he's booked up on every Saturday for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
Right.
he's
Yeah, they're getting really popular.
Yeah, he's, and I think then I think I seen where Chris Thrasher, Site Paranormal, is doing some kind of public investigation that weekend.
The 29th, yeah.
Yeah.
The 29th.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I'm thinking about going there for that, so.
yeah, I mean it has
Yeah,
really shot up there in popularity.
yeah, we being our first time there, it just blew my mind. I don't know if you checked this out on our YouTube, which is cross-linked on our Facebook. We ran a static camera in the upstairs room, and we all exited down. I believe it was 7 of us exited down into what he considers the main hall room to do a group EVP type session. And when we exited down there, of course, we had the static camera running, full spectrum light, and we didn't know it, but our camcorder was actually pretty much just taken off the tripod, dropped onto the ground, and it was still running. We didn't catch any EVPs on the audio, but afterwards we were surprised. We went up there, and Anita could tell you how that sequence went down with the EVPs.
Go ahead, Anita.
Oh, the EVP after the camera was on the floor?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, we all went up there, and it was like, the question was asked if somebody knocked the camera over, and we got an EVP saying yes, pretty much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
when we
it
were
was just
there,
like, yes.
when we were there, we
And
were in
then,
the kitchen part. That I don't know if it's still kitchen because we went when he first started doing investigations, but it was kind of like what used to be the
oh,
kitchen, and you
yeah,
could hear people walking. You know the old registers that they have there upstairs, the square
uh-huh,
register returns in the floor. You
yeah,
could hear them walking across that because it made like a doink
right,
Yeah.
noise. Yeah, it was
yeah.
pretty cool.
We had heard people walking around up there, off and on all through the evening, and then it was like our camera ends up, we heard a bang from downstairs, and, we immediately went up there, and the camera was on the floor, so everybody just assumed that it was the camera that made the bang, but after we reviewed our evidence, after the camera was laying on the floor, we heard the loud bang on the camera. So it was like, that didn't make the bang.
Wow. Yeah, they're talking in the chat room about the Rhodes Hotel. That is another awesome place to go to. Not really, it wouldn't be
That's on
too
them.
far. Yeah, that's
So,
not too far from you guys. Just
right.
probably
Yeah, it's
straight down
Atlanta,
28.
Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing our homework on them. I've actually been in contact some with Gail.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they were. She's been really nice, and they've been really great about answering some of the questions I have asked of them. They've got a really good rate too, in that place, and the mystique of it is very beautiful as well.
Oh, they have done so much work to that place. I mean, Creepy Legends was there before Gail and Chris at Sixth Sense purchased it. And if you could have seen it then versus now, you would not think it was the same place.
Wow.
Just, yeah, lots and lots of work. They have really, they do turn around the money that you pay to investigate, they do turn around and put it right back in. So yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, like I said, there's a bunch of them around here. That place you'll have to get a hold of, and then another place that's getting real popular is the Panzerotti House in Shelbyville, which that'd be
Yeah,
just
I've heard
straight
of
down
that place
70
as
for
well.
you.
That one's on our to-do list as well.
Yeah, so if any of these you can't find a contact for anybody, hit me up on Facebook. We'll see if we can help you. If I can't help you, I'm sure I can find somebody that's got a contact number or an email. So, do you guys do cleansings at your residential areas that
No,
you go to?
no, we haven't. We decided that we were going to stay away from the cleansing type ceremonies and such because stuff like that we believe has to be done properly. And myself, I'm not the most devout religious person. I've always been skeptical,
Mm-hmm.
but I do keep an open mind to all the different aspects of religion. We basically are one of our purposes is just to determine what's there, if at all possible.
Right.
Try and maybe find out what something is in nature, good or bad, or just generally existing. One of our theories is that things tend to wander, which made the investigation in northern Indiana really interesting. The residence was actually on what was Potawatomi Indian land, which was, they were forcefully removed if you check out the history of that and put on a trail of death there.
Yeah, the cleansing I feel should be left to someone within the church that, has the faith and follows all of that. I don't believe too much on the paranormal teams doing that. So
Right.
that's
I agree with that.
yeah. Plus you can, I mean,
Yeah.
something, I use troubled spirits, but that can flip on you really quick. And if you're
I
inexperienced at
totally
it,
agree.
you could be getting yourself, your team, and the homeowners in a whole lot of a mess.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we explained too when we went in to do the private residential. It was asked of us, it's like, is this going to increase activity? I'm like, my best answer for that was, honestly, I believe it's very possible it would have at least a slight increase in activity. But we don't even go in there to taunt or do anything of that nature. We keep it basically as best, with question and answer and try to get their side of the story.
So you guys don't...
Everything's theory, so...
So you guys don't believe in provoking?
No, we don't use the provocation technique on when we investigate.
That's good. That's good.
As far as a hostile approach.
Like usually, like when he was talking about the hit on the meter that we got at the private residence, it was like, I just said, well, thank you for doing that. Now, could you please make it stop? And it did. So
right.
I mean, we're very respectful.
And I think that's very important in a team. Is there's so much of that reality TV out there that teaches people how to investigate the wrong way. And
yeah, I agree totally.
It just, nothing irks me more. I can't even watch that Zach. I can't watch him. I get so aggravated.
It's one of those things where, and I totally kind of understand one of the aspects of it is the dramatization of it. I mean, if they went in and did what we did, typically as investigators, a lot of the perception that generally people see would be probably boring to a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's just that, to go in there and you see the faces, like they make and such.
Right.
It's actually hilarious. It's almost like, almost kind of comical in a sense.
Yeah, I mean...
And you see people running, I did have that kind of a feeling like, wow, I wanted to charge right into it, but it wasn't like I was running in there with, faces and such.
Right, yeah. So is there anyone in your group, I know yours just mainly you and your wife, and then your wife's brother, but are any three of you sensitive? Psychic?
We have a theory about that, actually. Anita, actually. And this theory is a little bit off the cuff.
Hey, that's the way we are around here. We like those out there theories. We're known for that on the Haunted Harvest Moon.
Our theory was first.
The private residence we did, I hadn't been in the home. My husband had been in it before I got there. I just kind of went in the room that is supposed to be the most active for really no apparent reason, and I was just like, is there something about this room? And that was the one that was like the most active. So, and I always get feelings that there's something around me.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that do get that ooey feeling that when they enter a place that, the hairs on the back of their neck stand up, or they just, feel really, really uncomfortable. So, yeah, I mean... I
was really uncomfortable in that room.
So, yeah, I mean, that is, sensitive. Sally's that way on our team. She gets that feeling that, there's something there, and she gets the goosebumps and the cold chills. And so, yeah, I think, it's good to have someone on the team like that. You're kind of a well-rounded team. You've got your skeptic, which that's me on my team, and, you're sensitive, but is, Anita, and you guys put it together. So I think that's awesome. You guys are starting out great. So
Thank you.
You're welcome. On any of your investigations, have you guys seen full apparitions or had any spiritual attacks?
No, we haven't had anything like that. That's always the hope. But the closest we got was a shadowish type arm form,
girls with
like it swipes
saw
across
shadow
the camera.
So.
Anita, can you repeat that?
Oh, one of the girls that was with us at Thornhaven saw a shadow behind me, but as far as anything else, I haven't really seen anything. I've seen shadow play and stuff that I don't know for sure if it was just lighting or. I've never seen an apparition yet.
Well, that's cool. You guys get to experience that. You have to go to Waverly Hills as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the places I've always wanted to go.
It's best on that one, since the dollar amount is so high, is to get a group of 10. If you do a private investigation, it's $1,000. I think it's 8 hours, if I remember right. If somebody correct me in the chat room if I'm wrong. But we had like 10 people go, and then it was $100 per person. It kind of breaks it up a little bit, and you still it's large enough to where you can divide in however many groups you want and hit what floors you want.
Right.
But it's well worth it.
Yeah, I've heard stories of that place, and it's definitely interesting. I've got a few specific sites that I've been watching as far as other groups. We've been trying to key in and get who's local and who's not. And one of the things that we're going to try to do is the public investigation on the 29th. At least have a couple of our of investigators, Anita and her brother, will probably going to be checking out the site team, which we keep an eye on them guys on Facebook. Just watching Chris's team from everything I've seen on it, it's really impressive, solid protocol that them guys use.
Okay. Yeah, I think Chris was, he's still in the chat room with us. Yeah, we went to Old South Pittsburgh Hospital with Chris and his team. Now that was pretty awesome. Yeah, that was awesome. A 48-hour lockdown in a hospital. So, yeah.
Wow.
They are an awesome team to work with. They're very professional. They have a lot of the same techniques as a lot of our other groups that we kind of hang with and do different team events with. So yeah, good guidance there. So on your investigations, what kind of techniques do you use? Do you kind of use more old school since you're still building up on your equipment?
Yeah, we started with going into it. We didn't just start with recorders, and we started with our Mel meter and the other EMF detector we have, the ghost meter, and voice recorder and camcorder. We'll go in there with the procedure, basically, that we are going to establish what baseline. That's very important to us. We go in there, we get our EMF reads if there's any EMF hits. That way, when we're doing the investigation and we go into an area, we kind of know sort of what to expect going in that area as far as readings go. It's not a total surprise if we have some kind of a reading.
So you pretty much do like a base reading. You go in and do a base reading
that's real
first.
Important to us.
Yeah.
We also check, we keep an eye on what potential light sources there are for contamination, or, windows with trees outside of them. All those different things are considerations. Open airflow, anything that could create a noise or a contaminant is stuff we keep an eye on.
Yeah, you got to kind of watch. Our biggest thing is whispering, and belly gurgling.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, that's one thing we've kind of noticed too, and it's a constant work on our what our weak points are. You might start. We've kind of gotten better in that aspect. Everybody thinks, quiet, so that maybe they just don't hear you, or they don't want to. You inherently don't want to contaminate, but you actually make it worse when you do whisper, because it EVP is a disembodied, typically low-sounding thing. And when you whisper, all you're doing is lowering your tone. So.
Right. So how do you feel on phone apps? Like the Spirit Box from Jill and Roger, they're local, they're from Indianapolis. They created that app, and then I think the other one's called Ghost Radar. How do you feel about the?
Um, I've kind of been reading a little bit myself. I tend to stay away from them. The Ghost Radar type device. I mean, the cell phone is handy for things, but it becomes a problem is how quality is a phone made to really, monitor those type things. Like I've seen EMF, detection. I'm thinking to myself, I kind of wonder how much could go into it that it can actually really pick up,
I think it
versus
depends
the
on
other things.
What
I
was
think
that,
it depends
Anita?
on the sensors that the phones come with, and as to how accurate they would be.
Now, there's another one out there called the Echo Vox as well. I'm not a big fan of the Echo Vox. I've been on investigations with people that have had great results. We have not had, but with my Spirit Box app from Jill and Roger, now we've gotten some stuff on it. Now, granted, it will throw out some random, words, but then you can ask a question and it'll come up with, an answer that's correct to your question. So, it's one of those that you can't take every word that it throws out there and put it with your investigation, but it's a iffy app. You just got to watch what they're doing.
Yeah, it comes one of those things where everybody has certain things they like to use. Part of my reasoning, with the cell phone is being an electronic source. When you're using some of the EMF detection devices that are really sensitive, but even with the low that a phone really puts out, it's still possible contaminant. When you're checking something out. So
Now,
we generally, pretty much our equipment is, I guess we tend to stay old school as far as that approach goes.
now we have the Ovilus 3. That is a $300 paperweight. Is all that is.
Right.
I'm definitely not a fan of the Ovilus from a lot of the looking into it that I've done, and it doesn't strike me. Anything made with a preloaded vocabulary that is supposed to put out the words, it's really, I have to give people the benefit of the doubt when they believe and they're using it for their theories. I guess it might be possible, really, as far as my aspect goes, to look at it as, okay, it's a tool. A tool is used with other tools to build upon something, maybe an evidence collection. It might get more credible in that aspect. But I've seen a lot. When you see it by itself, to me, I stay on the skeptical side of it.
Yeah, the Ovilus, it came out. It was new. It was on the waiting list. I think the same time Chris from Site Paranormal was waiting for his, and we were so excited. And every time we've used it, it says the same words: worm and Pluto. I don't care where you're at. I could go turn it on right now, and it would say worm and Pluto.
Yeah, I guess if you're a worm from Pluto, maybe they have a fascination with that.
Now, the one thing that I do kind of like on it, and Chris uses it more than I do. I don't even mess with it. I don't even get it out of the case. And that's the thermal lights on the end of it. You can use those a little bit, but you've got to be pretty much right on top of a spirit to be able for it to detect it. But that's about the only thing that Ovilus 3 is good for. Or for our team it
Yeah,
is.
we'll probably just stay away from that one for now.
Yeah.
One of our approaches that I'm a fan of, honestly, and Anita can tell you this. I'm a static camera fool. I love having the static camera somewhere, and that was, when we had the static camera even on Thornhaven, we finished setting it up, and being the last two, when we came down upstairs, we didn't think about telling everybody else, but it was of course running. And, at that point, nobody else knew it was running.
Wow.
Which, I like that aspect, having it going.
Yeah.
And not having anything, nobody sometimes even knowing.
So do you use Notebook to document things, or do you strictly stay with your recorder?
We use our voice recorder, and we're still doing the pen and paper thing too, as far as events and whatnot.
Well, that's cool, because a lot of teams have kind of gotten away from the paper notebook thing, and I don't know, I'm funny about the recorder because you obviously want to tag, like if a car's going by or your stomach gurgles or somebody moves, but I think it would be easier if I had paper, than I document something that I think that might have happened instead of tagging each time, because I get in trouble all the time for talking too much. Imagine that.
Yeah.
And
It
I
does
talk.
create a problem sometimes when you start to tag everything,
You're talking over the top of
you said, you get
EVPs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the paper and pen is a good idea to still stick with, because, like I said, I get in trouble for moving and talking and wandering around. So, but yeah, you'll have to check our video out at Thornhaven when we were there. Like I said, it was in December. I think it was close to Jane's birthday. It was in December, and it was so cold there. And
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
it was, every part of my body was numb. And we were on the second floor, and I think he calls it the reading room, I think is what he called the room, with the little balcony. It's in the front of the house with the little balcony.
Yeah.
And you can see the red eyes outside the balcony window looking at me, and I don't see them. And then when Chris says something, it kind of tilts its head a little bit and looks at him. So you'll have to look at that.
Yeah, we'll have to check that one out. Like one of the notes too, as far as in regards to Thornhaven, someone we've been kind of working with is the Pendleton Paranormal, which is a group led by Rod. He's a really great guy. He has an equipment approach too, as far as methodology. He has an interesting little video posted too, where it looked like an orb. Although I have to admit, honestly, we tend to remain a little bit on the skeptical side with the orbs.
Yes.
But there's something there where it shoots into him and then out and down. So, and we kind of, with orbs, that's one of those things that we tend to pretty much omit for the most part. Now, we may consider it a possible remote as far as when we have like other activity occur, that if we can, document it with that, we'll make mention of it, but that's about it.
Yeah, I'm not real big on the orbs either. Too many possibilities, dust and bugs, and yeah, I'm not real big on the
Pollen.
orbs. Yeah, just
I had a picture that showed up with, and I was like, that's pollen, because it was like the whole picture was covered with it.
yeah, I think.
And it was really humid that night too, so.
What was that?
It was really humid the night that I had that picture. It looked like it was full of those orbs, but that's why I said it was pollen or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about that a couple different times on my show. A lot of teams kind of stay away from the orbs just because it's just, there could be so many different things.
Right.
I've noticed too, like we're real skeptical too. We'll do a technique too when we're doing EVPs, and kind of doing a room to room kind of walk an EVP type session. We'll do like photography, like flash photos in the dark, just to kind of see if we get, we're not looking for orbs. We're looking, for for us to be like a form or an apparition or something of that. But
Right.
I see a lot of photos too that some people, some sites put up where it's just, the camera's moving and there's light, and there's all these things going on. And one of the things, people forget is when you take photos and such in the dark, the camera, it requires more time to take the picture to allow the light in. And when you move any at all, you get that blur.
Right, yep. Yeah, I think we've got several photographers. I know Chris and Jeff, and I think that might be all that's in our chat room that does photography. But yeah, so where's your guys' plans? Where are you going next? What place you going to hit next?
This Friday, we're returning to northern Indiana to conduct another session there, since we just incorporated the Spirit Box. That's the one I mentioned that was on Potawatomi land. There's an old school here nearby, and there's a little bit of history to the place. Also on this weekend, we're hoping to slide back to that Sharp Cemetery to do some EVP work and try and see what we come up with there as well.
Hey, another place you guys... I'm sorry?
Oh.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, it's kind of hard on us sometimes to plan a lot because of our work schedules.
Yeah, that's...
Because I work days Monday through Friday, and he works like 12-hour shifts, and it's like every other weekend. And so, I mean, a lot of times it's hard on us to find days to actually do things together.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, everybody, because we're the same way with Chris's schedule, because he's on call in different times, and we got Jane and Richard's schedule, and trying to do local ones close for Sally to get to. So yeah, I mean, it is challenging. The more people you have in your group, it is a little hard to get it all together. But I was going to tell you another neat place. I don't know. Let me ask this question first. Do you guys want to explore outside the ghost hunting, like Bigfoot, UFOs, or are you solely staying with the ghost hunting?
As far as myself, I mean, I really honestly, I believe that there's more out there, as far as aliens and UFOs. It's almost, how can't you? There's so much out there, and, we haven't touched anything. So, but in that aspect, we're just staying with the search for spirits.
Well, you can go to, I just lost my train, Anderson State Park, the cabin, and I can't think of the cabin's name. It's right there by the Indian Hills. We did an investigation there, and then we did the Indian mounds for the Pakwujis, and I know I'm going to get corrected on that too. Pakwujis, where they're lights. They're like little green lights that they're troll-like creatures. But the cabin, there's like a little cabin there, and it is haunted. We got some EVPs there and some activity there.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Those green orbs or lights that people have run into there. I've actually had a couple people from work keep telling me, "You guys need to go here."
Yeah, like I said, with you guys starting out, there's so many places that you can go. I mean, we're kind of hitting some places 2 times now. I think we've been at the roads maybe 3 or 4 times, and Thornhaven would be twice. Post Town we've been twice, so we're kind of hitting some of them again after a year or 2 not being there. So My nephew Jordan posted on the chat room talking about his son Phoenix and the flashlight session. He was in the back of his car and said, "Can if there's a ghost in here, can you turn the flashlight on?" So, what are your thoughts about the flashlight sessions?
I'm kind of, I've never really tried them. I typically stay with a question and answer. I think it's possible. I kind of worry too about, the sensitivity of a flashlight. It's possible that it could be, bumped on. It could be so sensitive, but most people obviously know their flashlights and their equipment, and they know when they get something happen that as far as it going off and on.
Well, like this is my personal opinion and mine only, which doesn't mean a whole lot, but I do believe in the flashlight sessions because we have done that several different times and we get a response on command. I mean,
That's awesome.
if it's just the batteries doing whatever they got to do or energy
Yeah.
sparking the battery, whatever it is, that's not spirit related, that's pretty awesome to have on command reaction to the flashlight more than once. You can turn it
That
on and
is
turn it off.
actually one of the things I totally agree with you on, is the aspect. It's not the physical or even pushing the button to turn the flashlight on. You have a potential energy source for something to tap into. So it's in theory, with the theories of it able to manipulate that energy field, and it would actually use the flashlight, but not in the sense that a lot of people would think of.
Yeah,
I would totally use a flashlight. I'm up for about anything.
I like the flashlight.
To try anything.
Yeah, I really like the flashlight session. Like I said, we have as a team, we've had, direct responses with it. And then when you tell them turn it out, you can see it going dim and bright, and then going out. Well, I mean, I don't know. Everybody can argue with me or say what they want, but I do believe in it. So, yeah, we had
Yeah,
that.
that's something we're definitely gonna have to try down the line, our next couple, especially with the cemetery, the outdoor investigations. That one becomes a real challenge. And I've sat down and thought, what kind of challenges are we going to run into with it? And you start looking at your lights for your video recorders, and the light diminishment that happens over distance. Those are huge factors in outside investigation. That's another tool that I'm definitely going to try on this outside investigation.
Yeah, like I said, we got really good response. I know a lot of people frown on it, and I've even seen people bash other people on Facebook for it. But I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. I go
Yeah,
for.
interesting.
Now, I have interviewed a team that uses candles and watches the flames. Now, we have never done that, but that's another technique.
Yeah, that's interesting.
There's a lot of the residential, I mean, a lot of the commercial places, don't want you having candles in there, obviously, but
Right.
and I kind of the one about the candle, like if they're old or old commercial buildings, they're going to have drafts. They're going to have a little bit of air
Yeah.
cycling through. So that'd be hard to tell if the flame was moving due to a draft or due to a spirit moving around.
Yeah, that is one of the problems you would encounter with the candle approach. Like I said, with the open flame, even the little slightest bit of breath could make it flicker or whatever.
Yes, we did. I take that back. My husband's corrected me in the chat room. We did do it when we were in New Orleans. We were at the Pirate House, and the Pirate House is completely dark. The only light in the place is candles that's sitting on the table. That's the only light
Wow.
there is. And it's supposed to be one of the most haunted places there in New Orleans. So we had a table with 3 candles, and we were asking questions. We were kind of doing our own little EVP session and asking questions there in the corner. If one candle was for a blacksmith, one candle was for a slave, and I can't remember what the third candle was for. and have them move whichever candle that the spirit was there. And one of them did start moving, and the other two were just still. The two on the side
Wow.
was still. So yeah, I guess we have done that in New Orleans, but not in a team investigation. So yeah. So do you guys web pages? I know you've got your Newcastle Paranormal Seekers on Facebook. Do you have anything else out there? Another web page?
We have a YouTube also, and I also have a Twitter. We have the links of those in our About on our Facebook page.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, Anita is our essentially our PR person for that. She's already started working on a formal web page. It's not actually tied to Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, it takes a while to get all that going. That's a lot of work to get it all going. So besides your residential that you're going to be doing and going to Witch's Circle, what's the next commercial place that you're going to try to hit besides Thornhaven?
I really want to do the Geyer Opera House in Louisville. I've seen other people's evidence from that. I've heard people talk about it a lot. And so I really want to do that one.
I don't think if Louisville sounds familiar, but the name doesn't sound familiar to me.
They still do shows there. I wasn't familiar with it until my nephew brought it up, and then I looked it up and to see their rates and stuff. But
Louisville, Indiana, or Ohio?
Yeah, Louisville, Indiana. It's near. It's near here.
Oh, wow, that would be a close one. And what's the name of it again?
The Geyer Opera
Geyer.
House.
I think
Geyer.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think of the one. I'm sorry.
I see they're talking about it now. In the chat room.
Yeah, they're talking about it on there.
Right.
I can't think of the one Brian, and somebody might be able to help me in the chat room. We've got about 3 minutes. The one Brian Yount owns, and it's in Union City, and I can't think of the name of the location, but that wouldn't be very far either. Hopefully maybe Chris from Site or Gene from, he's got too many words, Gene from JCPS or Jeff from OPP would know what I'm talking about. I know Living Dead Paranormal has been there, but it's in, and Jane might remember because she wanted to go there. It's in Union City. They're giving me directions, but I know where I don't remember what the name of the location is. Yeah, I know how to get there, or the general area. But yeah, but he's got a Facebook page, Brian does.
We're really focused on, and right now one of our focuses that we're working on is trying to build with Indiana groups. When we did our Thornhaven, we investigated with a group from Illinois, I believe it was Just Us Paranormal, and they were really great people. And just in general, since we've started this, the reception, honestly, from paranormal people with Unity, it's been amazing. It's great to go in there, and nobody really looks at anybody that in a bad light. It's just so much more open than when you're starting something, you don't know what you can expect from fellow investigators, on take. I think people look at like, okay, if you're new, it's cool. And when I tend to, like, if we go into a public investigation, it's just to get everybody's opinions and theories and all those different things. It's such a great thing.
Yeah, I really wish you guys great success, and you have my Facebook page. If you ever have any questions, feel free to contact me. Like I said, if I can't get you an answer, I can find somebody that can. So you have to keep us updated on Facebook about all your different investigations that you guys go to and any new techniques that you guys learn.
We
Yeah, actually,
definitely will.
I have a couple ready to go.
Yeah. Well, we're at the top of the hour, and we're going to let Nate and Mike get started here. So I want to thank you guys so much for being on my show tonight. I know you guys were a little
Thank you.
nervous starting out, but like I told you, we're just really relaxed and easy going. So
Thank you
Yeah,
for having
thank you,
us.
and thank you to all the people that joined us.
well, thank you. You
Yes.
guys have a good night.
Thank you.
too.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Now, for all you listening, do yourself a favor, go lock your doors and close your blinds, and don't forget to look under the bed tonight. However, it may not do any good, because whether you believe it or not, the paranormal is real, and it's all around us. I'm Vonda, and you've been listening to the Haunted Harvest Moon on Z Talk Radio. Have a good night, everyone. Stay safe.